That's all I got too. Not sure if that was our intro or not.
Welcome back to the Freek Easy. This whole season I've tried to have like a impersonation or an impression or a gimmick, and I got nothing because I can't do a turkey voice. But I mean, also neither can the turkey in today's movies.
That's fully accurate. Yeah, I would try to do an impression of him, but I don't think we can talk like that on this show.
Yeah, for real.
So,
guys, I'm your host, Jerry McCaffrey. I'm joined by the star, the charisma, the reason you all show up. Oh, Dan's not here.
Wow. Thought this episode was going to be my coming out party, but guess we'll just run with that.
But I am joined by none other than one of the founding fathers of the Geeky.
Hey, yeah, on my own show.
Jonathan Leonard. And today is the season finale of the 2020 Freek Easy. It's Friday the 13th in November.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. And today we're talking Thankskilling. 1 and 3.
Yeah. And we'll bring up 2 in the recap of 3. I guess.
Bring up
technically. So
did you actually watch 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Good. That means my beef with you is warranted. Will be understood.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I feel about you roughly how you felt about Dan in the Ghoulies episode. Right now.
That's pretty fair.
Yeah.
So, last week we talked about, when we were talking about the Killer Clowns, how I did not really have any memories of the Killer Clowns. Like, I remembered when Netflix was first a thing, like, that was just on there, and I was like, oh, that looks terrible. I've never watched that, and kept on scrolling.
Yeah.
Sort of the opposite is what happened with Thankskilling.
Yeah.
Because
not really the opposite. Just that last part's the only thing that changed.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because as I'm scrolling through on Netflix, I'm like, oh, Thankskilling. This looks awful. Better watch it.
Yep.
And I don't know which came first. It's entirely possible that I watched Thankskilling and then knew better than to keep scrolling past Killer Clowns by the time I noticed it.
Fair.
But man, I remember watching. Actually, I think you guys watched Thankskilling before I did. Like, you guys had watched like Birdemic and Thankskilling and some other stuff.
You know, now that you're saying that, I think you're right, because I was thinking we had watched it together, but then I was starting to think, but I swear I had actually seen it before you.
Yeah,
because I think you came over and watched it after that, and we 1-2 punched it with Poultrygeist.
We definitely 1-2 punched it with Poultrygeist.
Yeah. Which we will not be going over the podcast.
Oh man.
But that's a trauma film, which I think actually we've brought up in the podcast
it's
before.
It's a trauma film that you should go check out. If
yeah,
we're not going to talk about it today. If you can find Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead.
Yeah,
it is a must. It is a must see. It is everything that we look for.
If you know what a trauma film is and haven't already, based solely on that, decided that you're not going to go watch it, you should go watch it.
It's like the pinnacle. Like it's like the end game of trauma films. And I don't mean that in that, like, you know, Toxic Avenger's not there with the cast of Nukem High. Like, no, it's not that. I mean, like, it is like the penultimate. It is all the energy. It's the singularity of trauma films.
I tell you, and if anyone from Trauma Films watches this podcast, they're gonna immediately decide on doing a re-release of that movie so they can put that quote on the DVD case right there. The end game of trauma films.
Yes. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Thankskilling. Thankskilling, the story of Turkey, the evil turkey.
Never said it out loud.
Oh man. So this movie is extremely low budget. It's extremely camp.
Yeah.
It's
an hour and 6 minutes long.
It's an hour and 6 minutes long. It doesn't waste any time. It's a slasher flick. I hesitate to say I love it. I really. It's a different kind of, it's not even, I don't even want to say it's so bad it's good, because it's not good. Those words are not incorrect, but it puts the wrong image out there for it, because we've all seen things that are so bad they're good, and this is not that. No. But it is it's so bad it's fun.
Yeah, exactly. And it knows what it is, and so it's got a lot of fun ideas. And it has fun with those, because at no point does it try to pretend that it's more to that level. I didn't look up the history on this thing at all. I purposely avoided doing so while watching them, and then after 3, there was just no going back.
No going back.
But I feel like this had to be some sort of student film or something like that, because it's got a production quality of sorts, as in the people who filmed it clearly, they knew how to hold a camera, they knew some editing techniques, they had a vision that they executed, but also they're not experts and they don't have any money.
So you are partially right. I did do a little bit of research, bare minimum. Mostly on Wikipedia, which, to be fair, is all I could find. It's not like there's tons and tons of documentaries and websites dedicated to this. But Jordan Downey, who directed and wrote, and this is his thing, Jordan Downey. They shot this on a $3,500 budget.
That sounds about right.
Yep, and it was just their friends, and it says that they kind of wrote it. They worked at Blockbuster. For all of our fans who don't know what a Blockbuster is, it was this store where you could go and rent videotapes. Like, you could go and rent movies. It was like Netflix, but in a store.
Yeah, a store is like a building, sort of like your house, but it's bigger, and commerce goes on within. You can actually buy things there.
Commerce is when you buy,
sort of like Amazon, but in a building. Yeah.
Like Amazon, but in a building. Perfect. And he is basically makes it sound like it was just, and I say basically makes it sound like it explicitly says on Wikipedia, him and his coworkers and friends that worked at this Blockbuster just kind of started throwing ideas back and forth, and then kind of cobbled this movie together, and then went out to shoot it. But they did have a budget, and they did include, I don't want to call them actors, but that the Wanda Lust, who is the naked pilgrim that gets murdered right away. Like, she has to be like a legit porn. I should have looked her up. I feel like she has to be like an actual porn star.
Well, they at least named her after one.
They definitely named her after. Lust is definitely not her last name. I think that's the point I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
To me, I think that's part of why it can be bad but still good. It seems like, to me, probably like Jordan Downey had read, I think it's Bruce Campbell's biography that is basically How to Make the Evil Dead.
Wow.
I felt like he read that and went, "Hey, we can do that." And then they
that
couldn't,
movie
but they tried really
that
hard.
movie makes infinitely more sense now.
Right.
And that is exactly what happened. I can promise you. Yeah. Just having heard that idea, and now I kind of want to go back and watch one again.
Mm-hmm. The other thing about one that I really appreciate, aside from it being like a fun slasher flick, more so, a fun bad slasher, more so than it being knowing what it is, having shot things with my friends and filmed, I feel like I'm watching a bunch of buddies making a movie.
Yeah,
you know,
it
comes across as a bunch of kids just kind of throwing this stuff together and doing and having fun. And even though it is nowhere near comparable to the level of a
like Clerks or something,
Evil Dead,
Evil Dead.
You know, and what Sam Raimi was able to do with that. Although they had a lot more money for that, they actually went and got actual investors.
Yeah.
It has that same kind of like, to me, it has that same kind of like, I'm in on something, you know, and I think that's it too. Like, it's the kind of this underground, not like when you're in a punk band, you know. So, but kind of that same. But
I mean, it's the same sort of
watching some guys DIY and get in there. I enjoy that aspect of it.
Yeah, for sure. And there are gags in this movie that I absolutely adore.
Yes.
There are, I mean, there's halfway decent kills in this movie.
Yes. They definitely found somebody who knew how to do some makeup and effects type stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I highly doubt they hired somebody. I assume, I mean, you can find people who are just into that kind of thing. And I mean, I know people who.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure. You know, and you can YouTube a lot of that stuff.
And you can,
you know, so.
Yeah.
This was like 2011?
2007.
Oh, that was earlier than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Regardless, I don't know. Yeah,
it's still easy to find. You find stuff out, and you play with stuff. You figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. And so
that's what you go to Spirit of Halloween, buy them out.
The other thing too is, I mean, this movie starts. It immediately delves into. You know what you're getting right from the beginning. It crosses some lines.
Crosses all the lines.
Yeah.
I think this is the most vulgar movie we've watched.
Oh, for the podcast?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt. But I'm saying, like, even in a movie where you know they're crossing lines and being vulgar, it still crosses a few lines for me. But at the same time, it comes in, it gets all its hits. It's timed perfectly at 1 hour and 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Because you can enjoy that hour, but as soon as you hit that 59-minute mark, you're ready for this to be over, and then it is. You know,
and then it is.
Yeah, it's got a little bit.
It's also paced pretty well as far as the kills go. Like, if you're looking for like a horror slasher flick, they don't make you like you wait a little bit before it really. I mean, they give you a jump start. But then you wait a little bit before it gets going. But once it gets going, they keep a pretty decent pace.
It's got a great formula.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, for a movie that cost slightly less than my car to make, there's a lot of positives to this thing.
Yes.
The turkey, the villain.
So let's give the wind up for anybody who doesn't know.
Yeah, which has got to be everybody.
I don't know, man. Well, when we talk about 3, we'll talk about. I think there's a lot of people who know about this movie. So the basic crux is, if you haven't heard of Thankskilling, at the first Thanksgiving, one of the Native American shamans or holy men or whatever was offended or disrespected by the pilgrims, and so he used necromancy to animate a demon turkey. Basically, that's the understanding.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
So now
it's a real sentence you just said out loud to the internet.
Yeah. So now the demon turkey resurrects every 505 years and just kills all the white people he comes across.
Specifically, one of the kids in the group was like a descendant of the pilgrim that offended him.
Well, also I've read so he gets resurrected. A hunter, a farmer. I don't know.
Well,
some guy in the wood.
That dog pees on him, which is a recurring event now.
It is.
Here at the Freek Easy.
Some guy in the woods. His dog pees on this little totem pole, and what I was reading is it's supposed to be like a premature resurrection.
Oh,
okay. Like because this dog desecrated this little miniature totem pole that was growing out of the ground. Turkey came back a year early or something like that. I don't remember that specific plot point in the movie.
Yeah, I don't remember them mentioning that.
But that's what I read in my research.
For all the pacing praises and also, such like that we've had, there are definitely some
a lot. Also, if it was early, that has no bearing on the movie whatsoever.
Yeah, no.
Like I just.
This has nothing to do with the timing of the movie right here, but I'm just going to forget to bring it up if I don't later. But they totally, absolutely make the exact same joke twice in this movie. I think because they forgot they did the first time. So, again, it's not perfect.
Yes, for sure. So there's these 5 kids that are set out from college. They're on their way home for break, and they don't seem to be. I mean, obviously the one guy, like, they don't seem to be like a friend group. They seem to be like a group from the same town that is riding together.
Yeah,
because there's the nerd kid, Darren.
I don't remember any of their names.
Let me get their names so we can talk about them.
There was nerd kid, fat kid, athlete kid, and 2 girl kids.
Yeah, that's fair. There was, goodness. Allie was the good. No, Kristen was the good girl. Johnny was the jock. Allie was the ditzy girl, and Darren was the nerd.
Yeah, what about the fat kid?
Yeah, is he not listed here?
I don't know. He was a pretty main character.
He was a pretty main character. I don't think he's listed here. So hold on. It doesn't have him on.
That's amazing.
It's ridiculous.
I because I don't want to jump ahead in our explanation here, but I'm remembering that his spoiler alert, his death scene.
Yeah.
When the other guy kept screaming about him because they were best friends.
Yeah.
Right before they went into song.
Sorry, I have to know his name now. John,
no, it's all right.
Kristen,
so
Billy,
yeah.
Billy.
Yep.
And they all kind of seem to know each other, and like the ditzy girl is real interested in the jock, and the fat kid Billy is friends with Darren, and he kind of seems friends with the jock, but the jock kind of hates Darren, and both the girls seem to hate Darren. It's so like, I mean, it seems like a weird dynamic they've set up. They just kind of threw these 5 people in a car, and they also just kind of go all in on like, man, making me not care if any of these people die. They obviously want Kristen to be like the good girl, and she's fine. She's inoffensive, but she really just comes off as bland.
Yeah.
Whereas like Allie is constantly trying to hook up with Johnny, and Johnny is the braddest Brad that ever bradded.
I was about to say, you can't call them a group full of Brads by any means, but there's no positive qualities either to any of them.
Even the nerd is the nerd is that, and he's not like an endearing nerd. You know, I feel like a lot of times, and maybe because we're geeks. You know, there's some kindred spirits when the nerds show up in these movies, and you want to give them kind of this nerd is one of those guys I don't want to be stuck in a car with. Like, you know, like other nerds are like, ugh, this guy's a nerd.
Yeah, this is the guy who couldn't make it with the Revenge of the Nerds crew.
Right. And the fat kid probably comes closest to being like a likable character, because he's just doing like a full-on Varsity Blues Billy Bob impression.
Yeah.
Like that's just what he's doing, and that's great. I love Billy Bob. But they embark, and for whatever reason, their car breaks down, the Jeep, and they just decide to camp on the side of the road
for a couple of hours.
You know, it breaks down, and so they pull over. Well, it also cracked me up because Kristen is on the phone with her dad, and she's like, "Yeah, we'll be home in a couple hours. Sure, I'll go to the pageant with you tonight."
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it seems to be like noonish.
Yeah.
Early afternoon at least. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's dark out, and their car's breaking down, and they're pulling over at the side of the road just to but then clearly when she talks to her dad the next day, they're supposed to go to the pageant, the turkey pageant or whatever that night.
Yeah.
So like the timeline is all off in this movie about an evil turkey named Turkey.
Well, I remember when they stopped at camp, I was just sitting there going, well, she should probably call her dad. She's not going to make the thing or whatever. Right. But then, like I said, the next day comes and didn't miss anything. Also, the dad is like this sort of hillbilly sheriff type character, and we we're introduced to him as he's getting served a pot of coffee
with poop in it.
Yeah,
He drinks it. He's like, "Did you poop in this coffee?" And the wife's like, "Yep, I want a divorce," and walks out. And that's like how. And he's like, "I don't even know. That's the movie. That's the movie. This is.
Yes, exactly.
If you want to know what this movie is, that's the movie. If you're still unclear, that's what.
He even
That's
tells
what this
his daughter
movie
on
is.
the phone. He's like, "Oh, by the way, your stepmama left me again," or something like that.
And she's just like, "Oh, okay, Daddy, I'll see you tonight." It's perfect. I'm okay with it. But so that's while they're camped out is when Turkey gets awoken. He kills the dog, and then Kristen wanders off for some reason and has a run-in with Turkey, and then she runs back.
Yeah, the nerd kid tells the story of the demon turkey from
right.
Thanksgiving, and nobody believes him. And when he tells it, he doesn't know that the thing is real or awake or whatever. But then she runs into it, runs back, and tries to tell everybody that it's real, and everybody kind of blows her off.
They all brat her.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. Even the nerd who was telling the story like it was real is all of a sudden like, "Oh, it's just a story." Can't wait. And then they all just go to bed. Like, no. The dead rabbit gets thrown on. Like she comes back. She comes back from having a run-in with the turkey. She runs away. She comes back. She's like, "Turkey's out there. It's real. Oh my gosh!" And they're all like, "That's ridiculous." Then a dead rabbit gets thrown into their fire, and the nerd kid is like, "Oh, it's been pecked to death by a turkey beak." And they're all just like, probably happens all the time, and go to bed.
Yep. And Billy sleeps outside, doesn't he?
I think he passes out drunk, right?
Okay, that's what it was. Yeah, I just know the next morning he wakes up and that hunter guy is right in his face, and
chase the turkey off.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, "There's no turkey out here." And he's like, "Oh, really? Well, then what crapped on your chest?"
Oh yeah. He wakes up with turkey poop on him. But then they go and fix the car and leave. Pretty much. Turkey. So now we start getting into the like the kills, which are all pretty fun. Because right away, Turkey is like hitchhiking.
It's so sadistic.
And his car pulls over and offers him a ride. But the car wants for the ride. The car wants gas money or drugs or sexual favors.
Yeah, the driver, not the car itself.
The driver.
You have to specify when you're talking about this movie.
No, you're probably not wrong. You're probably not wrong. So the turkey pulls out a shotgun and shoots him.
Yeah. Oh, no. It's more than that. Where he pulls out that shotgun and aims it at that guy. And the guy starts going, "No, please, I have a daughter."
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and the turkey's like, "Call her." So this guy's just on the phone going, "No, it's okay, honey. Daddy will be home soon." And then turkey just blows his head off.
Yeah, I forgot about that. This movie's insane. Yeah. And then Turkey takes the car. And they go to Johnny's house first, right? Mm-hmm. Well, they drop Allie off. They drop the Ditz off. And then they go to Johnny. And then Johnny is, I guess he dropped but he doesn't. He goes.
No, because he goes home. He drops everybody off and goes to his house.
And then they go pick him back up.
Yeah, he goes to pick him back up later.
All
yeah,
right, you're right.
Because he goes home to see his parents.
Right,
and he's like reconnecting with his dad because they don't talk anymore because he got injured. Yeah, he got injured, and so he wasn't starting quarterback anymore. And so they are just now reconnecting, and things look like they're going to be going good again. And then Turkey just shows up and murders both of his parents.
Yeah. Well, and they totally play because his dad, like he walks in and his dad's a total jerk to him and won't talk to him, and then goes outside. And then he goes outside and they totally play this whole like sincere scene where he's like, "Dad, I made starting quarterback," and his dad's like, "Oh son, I'm so proud of you, you're my son again." And then Turkey shows up and kills them both. Well, not him, kills both his parents. But Johnny runs away, barely escapes. And then he goes and picks everybody up. And he's like, "Oh, this is real. Turkey was really out there." And they go to get Allie. And Allie has already found another dude that she's hooking up with. And Turkey, and it's another one of those fully clothed sex scenes.
Yep.
Which is always just the best. Turkey shows up, kills the guy she's hooking up with, and then takes his place, and then kills her. And when the rest of the team gets there, the team. When the rest of the team gets there,
that's the most ridiculous thing you've said this whole podcast.
You're not wrong. When the rest of the team gets there, they know that it was turkey because they find a gravy-flavored condom.
Extra small, I think.
Extra small. Extra small. Yes, they hold up the wrapper and they're like, extra small gravy-flavored condom? Must be turkey.
Oh.
But meanwhile... Oh, but then they decide they have to go... That her Kristen's dad has a whole library in his house, so he must have a book on turkey.
Yeah,
obviously. So they head over there to find it.
Yeah. Also, if you've seen her dad's character so far, the first thing you think is this guy definitely has a library full of occult books.
Or any books. But we flash over there where her dad, Turkey, has shown up at her dad's house already in Groucho Marx glasses.
Yes.
They got like the nose.
This is my favorite gag by far. If I hated this movie like it were Thankskilling 3, I would still love this bit here, because he totally just shows up with a big nose, the big plastic nose, and the mustache on the glasses, the old Groucho Marx looking disguise. That I don't think I've seen one of those since I was 10 myself, but. He's got that on his face, and that's it. And he knocks on the door, and the dad opens the door, and he's like, "Oh, you friend of Kristen?" And the turkey's just like, "Yep." And so he the dad's like, "Oh, she's not here right now, but if you want to come in and wait for her or whatever." And so he comes in, and then I think they cut back to the team, as you will, or whatever, for a little bit. But when they come back, it's just the turkey still wearing these glasses, and the dad just sitting at this table.
The dad is also in a huge turkey costume.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For the pageant.
Yep. So he's dressed up like a turkey, and the other guy's dressed up. The turkey's dressed up like a man, apparently.
Yes.
But they're just sitting at this table, like nothing's going on, and the dad's like reading a newspaper, and they're both like sipping from a coffee cup or whatever. And it's just this very awkward pause, and they're just sitting there. And after a while, Turkey's just like, I think I'm gonna go.
This is awkward.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
It goes to start. It is about to leave peacefully, and I can't remember what he says, but the dad says something that upsets the turkey.
He says something that sounds like he called him a duck. He
Yeah.
said something about a duck. Weird duck, that guy.
Yeah.
And so then Turkey murders him.
Yep. And then sets up probably my second favorite gag in the movie, which is basically just an extension of this, and he totally just Hannibal Lecters the dad, skins his face, puts it on, except that, he doesn't look like the dad at this point. He looks like the turkey draped in a piece of loose skin with a mustache on it.
Suddenly a possession angle.
Yeah.
This is the turkey, which is a little puppet, right?
Yeah.
This is the turkey puppet with a person mask on it.
Yeah. Except it's just basically like a dangling piece of flesh with a little bit of hair and a mustache. It is grotesque looking.
And when the team shows up, it totally fools them.
Yep, they all think it's the dad. It is hilarious.
This is my favorite. I remember being kind of on the fence about this movie. Just this is fine. It's funny. It's cheap. It's a slasher. I like those. But I don't know if I'll ever turn this on again. And then they got to this scene, and I was like, I'm gonna watch this every year.
Yep. See, my moment was the moment of them when they're just sitting at that table. But this was the perfect follow up to that also. This can't get any funnier. Oh, well, here we go.
So they come in and they start looking for the book. They say there's a library. There's not. There's a garage. And they start going through boxes in the garage that don't have books in them. But then they find the Turkey-nomicon, the Necroturkey-nomicon.
Yeah, what did they call it?
The Necroturkey-con? I don't think they called it anything.
Did they not call it anything?
I don't think it had a title like that.
Well, we're going to go with Turkey-nomicon then.
Turkey-nomicon. So they find the Turkey-nomicon, and they figure out that if you remove Turkey's talisman and burn him at the stake while saying a demonic prayer backwards. It will kill him.
Mm-hmm. And then they put together a plot where they basically do none of those things.
Right. Right. And then they also go, so is it Darren? Which one? Billy. One of them catches Turkey trying to dispose of Kristen's dad's body.
I think that's Darren.
Is it Darren?
I think so.
And then what happened, man? Some other stuff happens. Does he kill him? Like he finds out it's Turkey.
The next one that dies is Billy.
The next one that dies is
and he's walking down the street, so I don't remember how they got to there. Like I think they tried to kill the turkey. I think they got the talisman pretty quick.
They got
off
I think
him.
They got the
like
talisman.
Probably even right there,
so
but then the turkey escapes.
Because they have to go find him at his teepee.
Yeah,
so they all go run outside because he runs away, and they get the talisman and he leaves, and then they have to go find him at his teepee so they can finish the plan. Yep. But before that happens...
Now, at this point, we're 40 minutes into the movie, and Billy has spent 20 minutes complaining about being hungry because that's the shtick they're playing with the fat kid. And so I don't remember why the group separates, but he's walking down the street. And
I think he just went to find something to eat.
Yeah, honestly, I think so, because the rest of them were all together. So he's walking down the street, and he just sees this cartoon image of a fully cooked turkey. Does it talk to him?
I don't think so. I think he just picks it up and swallows it.
Okay, yeah. So in the image we're seeing, I can't even describe this to you. Like, I saw it and can remember it and can't believe my vision of it. But he's basically just picking up this giant cartoon fully cooked turkey and puts the whole thing in his mouth and swallows it down and then looks satisfied for a second, and then his stomach explodes.
Yes.
From the inside. Because
Turkey gut busted.
Yeah, because he had miraged cooked turkey over this weird demonic horror turkey.
So turkey pecks his way out.
Yeah.
And man, it would have been, I probably would have been impressed because his guts are hanging out and there's intestine and stuff, and for a minute he's like trying to hold it in. It falls over, and then Billy finds him and cries for 20 minutes. But they were real proud of these intestines and did all kinds of like close-ups and panning shots. Like they were super proud of this scene. And had they just kind of given us a little bit, I probably would have been like, man, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
because it does look good. Like the first time you see him kind of holding it in and staggering and falling over, you are kind of like, wow, that's where all their budget was.
Yeah, that's $3,000 right there.
Yeah, but then they start doing close-ups and pans and all kinds of stuff. And
yeah, they overplayed their hand.
They way overplayed their hand.
But it's another hilarious scene because the other guys realize he's been gone, so they go looking for him, and they drive up, and he looks like he's been, it looks like this probably happened like 20 minutes ago, and his insides all exploded outward, yet he's still sitting there. Was he still alive when they showed up? Or was he already passed?
No, I think he was dead. I think he was dead then.
Because the nerd kid comes over and is holding him and it just starts screaming, "Oh, why, Billy? Why? Billy, you're going to be okay." He keeps going, "You're going to be okay. Just hold on. You'll be fine. We'll get you fixed. It'll be okay." And just sits there and shrieks about it like it's like he just lost his brother in a war movie or something like that. And that goes on for what felt like 5 minutes.
It goes on. It goes on long, like it's funny, and then it goes on too long.
Yep.
And then it goes on long enough to be funny.
Yep.
And then it keeps going back to where it's not funny anymore.
Yeah, well, but then they switch to I thought they did the thing where it was funny and then they dragged on too long and then they brought it back to being funny and then they went into the musical number.
Oh, went past that for me.
Because they go into this fond memory musical number of Billy and this nerd kid who
I forgot about that.
Did appear to get along fine. Yeah. Did not appear at any point to be lifelong best friends ever, but they are like there's a ballad being sung.
Yeah.
From the nerd kid's point of view, but I don't think it's him singing. But he said that the ballad is just sitting there going like, "Billy, you were my best friend."
Yeah. It was very it was very Trey Parker, Matt Stone.
Yep, for sure. I thought that too.
Yep.
And they've got these, like the images are all whitewashed, so they look like they're memories, and they're sitting there feeding each other ice cream cones and doing all this goofy stuff.
Laughing.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And then at one point, like they both fall over in a field, they're just laughing, and the nerd kid looks over, and Billy just disappears, and and he's just like, oh no, and then they come back to him just holding this guy, screaming. I found it hilarious.
The musical number was hilarious. I thought the screaming went on too long.
Fair
for me. So it depends on depends on where your mileage is, that kind of thing. Then they find Teepee's turkey. Turkey's
teepee.
They find Turkey's teepee.
I've heard it both ways.
Yep. And they go in and try to burn him, and they say the prayer. But then he runs out. He runs outside to escape, and gets shot in the head by that hunter. And flies into a dumpster. And then they're just like, oh, I guess we got him. Cool, he's dead. Kristen's like, I saw him get shot. He's obviously dead.
Except that the dumpster was full of radioactive materials.
Oh, Turkey comes back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they go.
Radioactive.
The three kids all go back to the house, and Johnny and Kristen decide to be boyfriend and girlfriend, and the nerd kid gets to hang out with him, so he's happy. And then they're all just sitting there like watching a movie, and the nerd kid goes to get some popcorn or something out of the fridge, and when he gets into the kitchen, Turkey shows up and guts him. What did Turkey do to kill him? I
don't remember.
Stabbed him. He pecked his heart out.
He pecks his heart out.
That's right. That's what it was.
He pecks his heart out. Because all I remember in that scene is that's when Billy shows back up like, come on, buddy, we're going to heaven. Come on. Like he's all surrounded by clouds and everything. And he's like, come on, Darren, it'll be okay. And then Darren dies. Mm-hmm. And then Johnny comes in and gets stabbed in the stomach with one of those electric knives.
Yep.
Which I thought was there's been some other movies where we've seen the electric carving knife come into play. And those things are just blunt and round, and I'm not saying you couldn't stab somebody with one of those. And I liked that he just stabbed him with that thing. Not that he did. I don't know what I'm trying to get to here. I laugh when he walks in and he's like, because that's not how you use that thing. And not in like, oh, they're so dumb, don't they know that's not how that works? Just in like he pops. It's.
Well, isn't that what they used in that Evil Dead remake when that girl cut her arm off?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yes.
No, that was way less funny than this.
I think there's been some. I think it pops up in some nightmares and some other stuff.
Oh, okay, and stuff we watch.
Also, but yes, the Evil Dead remake.
Yeah.
But this is the one where he just pops up and stabs him, and I laugh every time. We also we mentioned earlier that this is like the most vulgar movie. That's because Turkey cusses all the time.
Yeah, incessantly,
like nonstop, and he's just got like a regular voice. And I laugh like I'm 14 years old every time that Turkey cusses. Just be 100% honest. It's probably a solid third of the reason why I find this movie watchable. Yeah. Because I laugh every
He's got all of the misogyny of Freddy Krueger and then some.
Yes.
And also, beyond that, he's just insanely vulgar.
Yep. So Radioactive Turkey stabs Johnny. Kristen.
It's also glowing green now. We should point out, green. Like when we say radioactive, it's not because we know it came out of that stuff. It's because it blatantly is just pulsating green color.
Yes. She drags Johnny out to the tool shed, and how does she? Because here they kill him.
Well, that hunter guy shows back up too again, doesn't he?
Well, but that's after she killed her. Oh, because she aerosol can flamethrowers him.
Yeah.
And then he
burns, and somehow like he gets like punted into like his, I don't know if it's his teepee or what it is, but there's basically like a funeral pyre it ends up landing in, and it gets set ablaze because the turkey's on fire, and so then it sits there and burns. And I don't remember if she actually tried to do the chant again or anything like that. I think it's just at that point she's become empowered.
Yeah.
She is the heroine now.
Right.
She's not scared of turkey anymore. She stands her ground and burns this thing to death. Yes. And then the hunter shows back up and congratulates her.
Yeah, he's like, good job, girl. She's like, oh, thanks, I know.
Yep. And everyone else is dead. And that's basically the movie. Except for the epilogue.
Yeah, the epilogue is there's a happy family all having Thanksgiving. Nobody we've seen throughout the rest of the movie. Kristen's not there or anything. It's just a happy family having all passing food and filling their plates. And a big turkey in the middle, cooked and ready to be eaten. and then the turkey jumps up and slashes somebody's throat and turns headless to the camera and shouts, "Do I smell sequel?" And then then the credits promise the sequel will be in space.
That's right, which it is.
And that's Thankskilling, and I love. I keep saying that I don't love this movie, man. I love watching this movie once.
Yeah,
like it's fun. It's funny. I better have. I hope to have some adult beverages when I watch it, but I find it has a lot of rewatch value because it's not memorable enough that like. There's always some little gag, some little silliness, some little nonsense that I don't remember that catches me off guard.
Yeah. Well, it's flooded back in since we started talking about it, but I remembered, like, I wasn't super excited to watch this again, but I was kind of like, this will be fun, whatever, because I kind of remember not liking it very much, but because I remember it being terrible.
Right.
But I remember it having a couple of gags I enjoyed. And then when it got started, it hits with the vulgarity pretty hard from the get-go. And I just remember going, man, maybe this is worse than I remembered it being. But now when we were talking about it today, by the time we got to the end of it, I enjoyed sitting through it again. And now we're sitting there talking today going, oh yeah, like I did like this enough to where I told you had to watch it.
Right.
And we watched a second turkey movie.
Yeah.
Because of it. So it is definitely a fun little go-to when you're not looking for anything that's actually scary or serious or a real movie or whatever. But if you have an hour and 6 minutes to kill, this is a pretty fun ride, Now,
so before we start talking about the sequel, there was also a musical, Thankskilling.
What?
Thankskilling the musical was created by Jeff Thompson, Jordan Mann, and David Eck.
Why didn't we watch that?
It premiered in Seattle in 2013 on Off-Broadway at the Producers Club as part of the Festival of the Offensive in 2014. We didn't watch it because I didn't know it was a thing. I doubt, like until I started doing this research, I assume this only ever played live. I doubt there's like an easily accessible copy of it because I had to find I found and bought a box set of Thankskilling and Thankskilling 3 so that to watch for this show. In all of my, as I hunted that down, never did anything come up that said Thankskilling musical, where you can bet we would have watched it.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I didn't even find out about that. I have no idea anything about it, just bringing it up so that we have a little bit of a... Please tell me
when you found that box set, it was in an unmarked DVD case, which contained like an unlabeled rewritable CD.
No.
Or DVD.
No.
Like, this thing doesn't have box art, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Lots of box art. Well, so after Thankskilling became a cult classic on Netflix, Jordan Downey started a Kickstarter for the sequel.
Kickstarter.
So this sequel, Thankskilling 3, was a $111,000 film.
What?
Yeah. So Kickstarter raised $111,000 and some change.
Wait, so for $3,500 we got Thankskilling. And then somebody gave that guy $110,000
over.
And Thankskilling 3 is what he came up with?
Yes. I know, right?
Every time, like, I will hear about 10 Kickstarter things that sound awesome, and I really hope they work. And then I will hear about one Kickstarter thing that completely eliminates the possibility of Kickstarter being a good idea in my mind.
Well, okay, so I don't even know how to talk about Thankskilling 3. So let's give the quick. We'll give a really quick rundown because I really don't feel like.
I will tell you what. I will tell you right here. When I turned Thankskilling on to watch it for this podcast, I remember having that, like I was looking forward to it, but there was some hesitancy there, and I immediately saw an hour and 6 minutes, and I went, this is gonna be fine.
Yep.
Awesome. And I went to turn Thankskilling 3 on, and I was excited about the hour and 6 minutes I was about to spend. And just to double check, I turned on the runtime real quick as soon as it went, and it said like an hour and 39 minutes or something along those lines. And immediately I went, oh no.
Uh-huh.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That does not bode well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not
yeah.
good.
The storyline is almost clever or enjoyable or whatever in and of itself, but then nothing else works there. Basically, the storyline is Thankskilling 2 does exist, and it's the worst movie ever made.
The worst movie ever.
Yep. So the studio won't release it, and they've tried to destroy all copies. And Turkey finds out about this and has to have a copy for himself. So he finds like the one copy that's still in existence and goes and tries to procure it.
Yep.
And that's the last thing that makes anywhere even close to a semblance of sense.
Well, so they did explain that the reason he needed to have a copy was because he had put some of his magic into the filming. So anybody who watched this movie would die.
Oh yeah.
So he had to go and
kind of the ring thing.
Yeah, he had to go and find this final copy to get it killing people, or to they really don't explain if he needs to get his magic back or whatever happens at that point.
Yeah. He also has a family.
So the first scene we get, so the opening scene is this really bad in space scene. They really wanted to pay that off, I guess. And I guess it's a cut scene from.
Yeah, it's from Thankskilling 2, which as promised from Thankskilling 1, Thankskilling 2 was in space.
Yeah. So it starts with Turkey in like a space dogfight. Did you catch his wingman's name?
Pie.
First name Pie, last name
Yeah,
Let.
a lot. Yep. Pilot. Pumpkin. Damn right.
So his partner was this talking pumpkin. It's bad.
Pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie, yeah. Talking pumpkin pie. Sorry, thank you for clarifying. And yeah, then there's this extended scene with Turkey and Turkey's wife and their kid that is basically a sitcom. Like there's a laugh track and everything. And it goes on way too long and isn't funny. And the puppets are bad. Like even the son is this little turkey figure on a stick.
Yeah.
That you can clearly see the stick.
Yeah, which is a common theme through this movie.
Right. Turkey ends up killing the wife Turkey and threatens to kill the son Turkey, but the child Turkey is like, oh no, I want to go be evil with you. So what do they write off on? Eagle?
It's a cab company, but it's like a seagull.
Oh, that's right. That's a seagull.
Yeah.
Seagull, yeah. Yep, seagull taxi or whatever.
Yeah. See, the movie tries to be
really
like
funny.
really
meta and
to a
clever.
degree, yeah. But it fails on every
single level.
Yeah.
We're introduced. There's two actors in this movie that are definitely actual paid actors. I like.
Is the main guy one of them?
There's only the two.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. Well, I just assumed the main guy was the guy who created the.
No. The Jordan Downey voices Turkey.
Oh, okay.
But nobody else. He's not either of those pilgrim guys that aren't pilgrims.
Yeah.
It's so weird. What are they're selling the Plucker 3000 or the Stuffer 3000?
Something with Plucker in it.
Yeah, they're trying to sell this device that you've put a live turkey in it and it turns it into a butterball, basically like a cookable turkey. In 30 seconds or something like that.
Pluckmaster 5000 or 3000 or whatever it is, yeah.
Where does there's there's those two guys and they're like brothers and they're
I think they're just friends.
Are they friends?
I think so, because the one's mother is not the other one's mother. I don't think.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I don't even know where to start setting this up. There's
I'm just
this.
trying to hit the big plot.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a puppet character that has lost her mind and is trying to get it back. Then there's this guy whose dream is to open a place called Thanksgiving Land, and they're both dressed like they say pilgrims, except they look more like they're dressed like, well,
I mean, they're doing pilgrim. They look more like they're dressed like founding fathers.
Yeah,
they've got the wigs and stuff.
Yeah. The one guy, the dumber one that isn't in charge. Keeps talking about how he's going to be head of security at Thanksgiving Land.
Uncle Donnie. Jefferson. Jefferson is the guy who keeps talking about how he's going to be security at Thanksgiving Land. And he's got that. Yeah. He's got that pole arm. A broomstick.
With with a butter knife attached to the end that he keeps saying is his pike or whatever he calls it. But he's waiting. He ordered a real one. He's just waiting for it to show up. But until then, he's using this butter knife on a stick for no reason whatsoever. Is that his mother or his grandmother?
It is.
There's another character that is just the worst puppet you've ever seen.
Oh, it's gross.
That is it's hard to look at, and it's not even well puppeteered. That's the thing with this movie. They do a bunch of puppet things, and none of them are.
The whole
good.
movie is a puppet movie.
Yeah,
it's a puppet. Muppet. They're not quite Muppets. They're definitely puppets. They're nice puppets, but they're also really bad puppets.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things I was watching, and I kept just going, man, they spent part of that $100,000 on puppets, building, designing, making. They had to have paid somebody to puppeteer them. I guarantee they paid at least one puppeteer.
I guarantee they couldn't have possibly paid more than one.
Probably.
Because they not done well.
They paid these two real actors, like Uncle Donnie is the main guy's name.
Yeah.
And Jefferson, they were just good enough that you could tell they were real actors. But, I mean, they're not. I don't even want to tear them down. They were in a garbage movie.
Yeah,
they could be the best actors ever if they were in a real movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you could tell they were real actors. They had definitely hired a lighting guy because the lighting was way better.
Yeah.
And I would dare to say they probably hired, I don't know, a cinematographer, a director of photography. I don't know who does that. You know what I mean? But the camera work was infinitely better.
Yeah.
And not better enough that you can convince me after they made Thankskilling, these guys figured out how to do this thing. No, they hired people to do it this time because they had $100,000.
Yeah.
Now, I also said probably to their credit, and this is the only credit I'm going to give them for making Thankskilling 3. Had I made Thankskilling for $3,500 and then run a Kickstarter to make a sequel and had gotten $100,000 plus to make a sequel to my $3,500 movie, I'd have made a $7,000 movie and pocketed
Yep.
Pocketed.
Yeah. A $7,000 movie with a $100,000 director.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And so probably to their credit, they didn't do that. Because that's 100% what I would have done. And for the record, I think that's what anybody who gave money to that Kickstarter, that's what they wanted. Because there's no way they wanted Thankskilling 3. Thankskilling 3. So part of it. So let's try and mash
finish
our
the
way
recap or whatever.
through the recap
yeah.
So we can talk about it.
It's mayhem. Not in a good way.
So there's the puppet who, yes, has lost her mind and she's trying to find her mind. She ends up with the
copy of the DVD.
The copy of Thankskilling 2. And she ends up going home with Uncle Donnie. At home with Uncle Donnie, we meet Jefferson and the granny puppet who is
repulsive.
It's the worst thing you've ever seen. And she's
also a repulsive character.
Yeah. She's a terrible. She's a granny who wants to be a rapper and does these really bad raps. throughout the movie, and they're terrible. It's not funny. Like, oh,
Yeah.
grandma's rapping. There is a worm, a worm from space, and his space soldier thing.
Robot, I don't know what it is, cyborg,
What do they even
something.
call that thing?
Yeah, well, so as I said, the puppet and the puppet's not there.
Yomi is the
Yeah, when they go,
Gosh, this movie is bad.
the puppet is there at the beginning. That she goes home with Uncle Donnie,
Right.
and Jefferson is still there, and that's, I think, when you meet the grandma or mom or whatever it is, and when Jefferson keeps going on about how he's waiting for his actual stick or whatever. But they do this. I mean, this scene is basically meant to set up the grandma character and give you the shock value there, and a little bit of backstory on what's going on with, Uncle Donnie, and kind of join everybody together real quick. Except it had to be 40 minutes long.
It was so long.
Yeah,
So
and
bad.
probably in real life it was only like 15. That's still 8 times too long.
Right.
It's ridiculous. And then Turkey finally shows up. That is the one part I think I liked, because there's like a knock at the door or whatever, and that the Jefferson guy's like, oh, it's probably, I keep calling it a pike. I don't remember what he was calling it, some sort of spear that he's waiting for. He's like, oh, it's probably finally here. It's the real one. And he does that thing where kind of like he gets like washed out, almost like he's in a dream sequence, and he's just kind of moving towards the door, and it's like, it's really here. It's going to be here. This is going to be great. So he's about to get murdered when that door opens. And when he opens the door, you're expecting like the thing to just get stabbed right through him, or who knows what else happens, because they drag this out way too long too. Except like he opens the door, and then they just kind of cut back to the rest of the room, and the rest of the room is looking, and all of a sudden this guy is just in pieces in a pile. And I did chuckle at that quite a bit. Yeah. Also, I was just happy that scene looked like something was going to happen finally. But that was the beginning and the end of the enjoyment here. So Turkey comes in and attacks, and
Turkey had also at some point thrown his son off the seagull. So now his son is possessing the copy of the DVD.
Yeah.
Which is weird and kind of goes nowhere. I guess it's kind of how he tracks down the DVD.
Yeah.
Like he follows his son's spirit or whatever, but it's weird. And then then through the rest of the movie, the DVD is talking because it's Turkey's son.
Yeah.
Man, what even happens while they're at the house and Turkey is there? Is he trying to get in? Like, I can barely.
Well, they were fighting, but they escape through this door, but then they end up in like the Turkey realm or something like that. Well, and they run into this old elder spiritual turkey.
Oh yeah, the wise turkey.
Yeah.
So there's another turkey.
Yeah. And he tells them about like the history and I think he's the one who tells them about like how if anybody watches the DVD, they'll die.
Yes.
And so they go back to the house then, maybe to fight the turkey.
They go back to fight him. At some point, they all end up in that. Oh man!
Oh no, the turkey follows them in.
Pluckmaster 1. They find out that Uncle Donnie had built a Pluckmaster 1 at one point, so that thing is sentient, so it's awake and talking too.
Yeah.
And they put Turkey into that. At some point, they get Turkey into that, and it shreds Turkey and spits him out into the yard. And that's where
there's also some like skeleton. Yeah, he raises some skeleton turkeys here.
Then.
Other ones that I think this thing has spit out.
Yeah. There's like a pile of dead turkeys.
Yeah. You find out that the guy had the reason like he had shut down the Pluckmaster is because he had a wife and kid, and he sent them out for stuffing at one point because he was still working on the machine or something like that. But on their way walking back home, they got eaten by bears. And he's never forgiven himself. And man, we've talked.
And it's not as funny as it sounds.
No,
it's not as funny as it sounds.
I feel like by the length of time we've put into talking about the things that happen in this movie, we're giving it too much.
Yeah. So at some point, the space robot shows up with the worm.
Yep. Which were his co-stars in Thanksgiving 2, Thankskilling 2,
and
or something.
They fight Turkey. and then the worm gets cut in half and then smushed, and so the cyborg gets upset and blows its own head off. But then the worm just comes back because worms can regenerate. That's what worms do. So then Yomi, who is the puppet looking for her mind, and the worm, they go into Turkey Hell. You remember why they went into Turkey?
No.
Did they have to go? Had Turkey gotten I think Turkey had gotten the DVD by then.
Yeah.
And he ran into Turkey Hell, so they had to go chase him in Turkey Hell. And there's the whole scene in Turkey Hell. Is there a giant turkey in Turkey Hell? What do they run into in Turkey Hell?
I remember that beam of light. I don't remember
the beam of light.
I tell you, but I watched this whole movie. I am way checked out by then.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It was bad.
Yeah.
We tried to. Me and Danny watched it together, and we were making fun of it, and we were having some adult beverages. And I to be real, 100% honest, I thought I was paying enough attention to remember it. But now I can't, and it's because it's bad and unmemorable and boring that you can't remember the stuff. They do the gag over and over again where somebody is dying and somebody appears to them and they're like, "Hey, it's me!" Like I think the granny gets killed, doesn't she? And doesn't Jefferson? It's
Jefferson shows up every time.
Every time. Yeah. I think Granny gets killed and he's like, "Hey, come with me. We're going to heaven. It'll be fine." And then somebody else does it, and he's like, and he shows up like he's annoyed by it, and he's like, "Come on, man, just come with me. Well, let's go." And then the final time, he's like, "Hey, it's me. Come on." Never mind. And he like walks away, and that ends like they thought that was real clever. It's real stupid.
Yeah. This movie is a microcosm of everything that can go wrong in like in a Hollywood movie. Like, how many times have you seen, like, something fairly low budget that comes out and it really gets people's attention and it's fresh and great, and then the studio throws a whole bunch of money at a sequel, except when they do the sequel, they completely lose track of any of the magic they had the first time through. They overdo things. They bring back gags. They play things out too long. All of this stuff just goes wrong because you can't just throw money at something and recreate that lightning in a bottle. And this is that, except for on a $3,000 versus $100,000 scale, rather than a $3 million versus $100 million scale.
Yeah. Well, it's so obvious. People wanted, the people who supported this Kickstarter because they loved Thankskilling, loved like this low budget nonsense slasher.
Yeah. Well,
and then they come back with a puppet movie that you can't even call a slash. There's some
there's no slasher in here at all.
There's kind of some kills, but there's not even like kills in it. It's more like this urban fantasy. Like it's not even I don't know. Yeah, it's not. It's kind of horror-y because the kills are grotesque when they do happen, but it's not really a slasher. It's not really a horror film with any sort of tone. It's not really a Muppet movie or a puppet movie, but it's not really. It's not serious. It's not funny. It's not anything. Except for long. It's long. It's
like the Judd Apatow made a Thankskilling movie.
I don't know. He probably would have.
Well, if we just turn the camera on and let it run for a while.
Hired some funny actors.
True.
They'd have been. Judd Apatow throws funny jokes in his movies because he hires funny people.
Yeah.
But man, that is not. That's. I get what you're saying. It's bad.
Yeah.
I think they probably just bit off more than they could chew. You know what I mean? Like, if you've made this little funny movie with your buddies for $3,000, for a little under $4,000, and all of a sudden you have $100,000 to make another one, you don't know what to do with that.
No.
No. Now, you would think they might have hired somebody who would know what to do with that.
No, you wouldn't.
The guy. I said what I would do. I said what I would do.
The guy who knows what to do with $100,000
costs more.
It costs $200,000 to hire that guy.
That's fair. Wow. I
was
don't
gonna
know
say,
what else
I
to
would
say.
have. Yeah.
I'm sitting here desperately trying to remember the end of Thankskilling 3.
I remember the puppet was being sucked up into that beam of light vortex, and the worm or Uncle Donnie or somebody didn't want her to go, but that's where her mind was, because her mind kept floating around and calling for her, and I think they let her go, and she does get sucked up into it.
Remember there's the one point where she gets killed.
Yeah.
And they bring her back because he puts his hand in her.
Oh, yeah.
And brings her back. But then he just takes it out and she's fine. Like, it's not like he's wearing her around the rest of the time. Oh, yeah. And they do that whole thing where it's like, is she a puppet? And he's like, she's what puppets are based on. Like, it's this whole...
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Entity, which was dumb also.
Yeah.
And the worm knows all this. And the worm's name... The worm clearly is the worm has a mustache, but its name is Rhonda.
It's not important how Thankskilling 3 ended. The important thing is that it stopped and I got to go to bed.
Yeah, for real. I got to be honest. Me and Danny watched that, and we were like, "Hey, don't talk to John."
You say, I'm glad. I'm glad.
Don't warn John.
Yeah, I didn't. I wouldn't have wanted to know that was coming.
Yeah.
Because if I would have known that was coming, there's the off chance that at some point I might have went, well, it's not that bad. And then I'd be a worse person.
Yeah.
So I guess we're damning all of our listeners right now.
I did. I expected some text or something from you. Like you didn't send nothing. Like I expected to hear from part of the reason I wanted to wait was I expected to hear from you when you watched it.
Yeah, no.
And so when you didn't, I didn't hear anything.
I wanted to save it for here.
That's good.
Because all I could think of was I remember how mean he was to Danny after we watched Ghoulies 4. And though it was well deserved, so is this. Because I didn't pick either of these franchises.
Oh man. I feel like Thankskilling is still more watchable than any of the Ghoulies. The first one.
Oh, for sure. So I feel like, and I'm trying not to hold 3 against 1.
Yeah.
But it's gonna take a while to come back. It's gonna take a while to come back from this.
It makes it tough.
Yeah.
Not that I could watch Thankskilling more than once a year anyway. So.
No, for sure, yeah.
And probably not.
Thanksgiving is not.
I probably won't watch Thankskilling next year.
I keep calling it Thanksgiving. Yeah. Thankskilling is not a movie you pop in February.
Definitely not.
That's all there is to it. But Thankskilling 3 is not a movie you ever pop in again. Like you have to pray you remember it exists because you don't want the off chance of 10 years from now to go, there was a sequel, I don't remember, did I see that? And then you accidentally watch it again.
Right. 10 years from now when I'm going through my DVDs and I'm going, I have a box set of Thankskilling? Man.
Yeah.
This movie was bananas. I better watch these. Then I'll watch them again. But until then.
God,
and then hopefully
just made me flash back to the time I was going through my bin of DVDs going, why did I buy Swim Fan?
Dude, you were a huge Swim Fan.
I was not.
Swim Fan. Yeah. I remember having that discussion with you. Yeah, you were.
I was not a huge
Swim Fan is fine.
It probably is.
It's infinitely watchable.
More so than Thankskilling 3.
Man, but anything is.
Yeah.
Except the Ghoulies. No, the Ghoulies.
Ghoulies 1 is more watchable than Thankskilling 3. Ghoulies 1, 2, and 3 are all more watchable than Thankskilling 3.
I'm not
4
sure.
4's borderline.
Bro.
I'm not saying they're good or that they're a lot more watchable. I'm saying they're definitely more watchable.
I'm trying to put them together. I might rather watch Ghoulies 4 than Thankskilling 3.
Yeah.
If for no other reason than I think the people are easier to look at than most of those puppets.
That's true.
Because this movie is all puppets and 2 dudes.
Yep.
And it is it is really bad.
And again,
I might think it's less painful to look at the people in Ghoulies 4 than it is to look at the puppets in Thankskilling 3.
So Thankskilling 1 had. I hesitate so much to call it good puppeteering, because on like a Jim Henson level, no. But for a bunch of kids who work at a Blockbuster and had $3,500 between them, it's good. And they know how to shoot it. You know, they don't do a lot of close-ups on turkey motion and stuff like that.
I don't
whatever.
believe that at all. I believe it was what it was because of how limited it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, fair enough. I didn't mean to apply talent that isn't there necessarily either. But maybe it's not that they know how to shoot it. But the point is, they didn't do a lot with the turkey, and when they did, it didn't immediately suck you out of the movie.
Right.
You are able to watch Thankskilling 1 and believe that you are watching a slasher flick. You just know that it's real low budget and goofy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
All the puppeteering in 3 is terrible.
Really
all
bad.
of the puppets look terrible. It's probably the same turkey, but it just doesn't seem to really move right. And that's, because they show a lot of him all the time, so you can tell how bad it is. There's several of them. The sun and the worm, and I feel like there's more, are literally just stuffed animals on a stick. They're not even puppets.
Yep. And
you can just see the stick bouncing around as they're moving and being voiced over. The mother, grandmother, whatever, is disgusting to look at, and not in a good or entertaining way.
No.
Worm.
They try to give her all these because she talks like, you know, a gangster from the hood.
Yeah.
And it's funny that a granny's talking this way. No, it's not.
Yeah.
No,
Nope.
It's not.
Nope. The worm is bad. He's another one that's just on a stick, and I don't even think his mouth moved or whatever.
Sometimes his mouth would move sometimes.
Okay.
I think there couldn't have been 2 of those things. I think his mouth. I mean, he had a little bit of motion in his mouth, and they did some close-ups on him sometimes where it was just up and down.
Yeah,
but it was. Bad.
But it's just there's no.
There's nothing redeeming about this movie.
Not at all.
There's nothing worth watching. And I can't imagine, had I given money to a Kickstarter for a sequel to Thankskilling and gotten this thing, I would be so mad. Mm-hmm. And I would go so far as to say that everybody is, because I can't find there is not even a Wikipedia entrance for Thankskilling 3.
Wow. That is impressive.
Right. It's barely mentioned on the Thankskilling 1 Wikipedia. Like, they mention it as a thing. That's where I found the numbers for it.
Yeah.
But there is not a Thankskilling 3 entry on the Wikipedia.
I don't know that I've ever looked for anything in Wikipedia that I haven't found. I'm sure there's things that aren't there, but not many.
Right.
So
I found more when before I understood what the gag was. When I first looked up Thankskilling, I was like, oh, we got to do this for the Freek Easy, way back. And I saw, there's a Thankskilling 3. And then I was like, well, where's Thankskilling 2? And I did research on that. I found more out about Thankskilling 2 than I did about Thankskilling 3 that doesn't exist. Like, there's more on, like, oh, this is a thing that doesn't exist than there is on, it's part of this really bad movie.
Yeah. Oof.
All right. Well, we do have a bit of a formula forum to follow for the Freek Easy. Mm-hmm. So, Johnny, were there any characters that you wanted to see die more than the others?
It's the more than the others that's tripping me up. The grandma, for sure.
The grandma is the worst,
for sure.
Man. The grandma is
I should not have thought about that long.
Ugh, gosh. It's so bad. Yeah, just the grandma.
Yeah.
I mean, Jefferson's bad. I don't know why that character is a thing. He contributes nothing to that movie. He doesn't have anything to like. He's just a body there to be stupid. I don't know why. And I mean, not like stupid like he's cutting jokes or anything. I don't know what, you know what I mean? I don't know why they wrote his character and they were like, oh, he's got a pole arm with a butter knife on it. It'll be funny. Yeah. And I think another character wearing a wig. The Uncle Donnie character was like the main character has that wig on the whole time, and he keeps kind of trying to be like, oh, it's, it was a sign of opulence and wealth and respect in the old days. I'm bringing it back type of thing, which is silly. But then, like, when you show up and there's another person doing that same shtick,
yeah,
what's the point? What's the joke there? What's the point in that?
Yeah, I really think I think that character existed, the Jefferson character, so they could do the inviting him to heaven gag later in the movie, just so they could do that, which again is a gag they did in the first movie, but I laughed at, and then they did it like 9 times in this movie, and it was never funny.
Truth. Are there any characters that you liked? Normally I have to point out that like Turkey is disqualified, but I don't even know that I would say I liked Turkey.
Yeah, so. no, Turkey's awful.
But other than Turkey,
Turkey's also awful. No, not particularly. I mean, there's a couple I didn't hate in the first one. I didn't really hate anybody in the first one, but they were either mildly unlikable or totally bland, one of the two. So I mean, if you make me pick one, I'll just pick Kristen. But
I'm gonna throw a little bit of love at Kristen's dad, the sheriff. Even that actor, whoever that actor was, he was going for it in all 3 of his scenes. Man,
yeah.
He laid it out there. He got the accent going, and okay. You look at this guy, and he's got one of those accents. Like, he looks like that guy. Like, this guy is not a classically trained actor. He's not a character actor that they found in Hollywood. This guy's somebody's legit dad.
Yeah.
And he showed up and had fun and turned everything up to 11 and he threw it out there.
Yep.
And the character was fun, so I'm gonna throw some love his way. And now, John, what do we come for? What's your favorite kill? What's your favorite thanks kill? What kill are you most thankful for? Sorry, I had a couple.
I like it. I like those all. I am honestly I'll hate myself in the morning, but I'm gonna pick that one from 3 when they killed Jefferson.
Okay.
As I say, it stands out a little bit because it's the only part of that movie that I don't hate.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because I was expecting that stabbing. They drug it out too long, but I was still waiting because like finally somebody's gonna die in this movie. I'm a little bit excited. I can't wait to see it. And then all of a sudden they just cut, and he's just like cut like salami, just in chunks. It's ridiculous. So I did enjoy that moment.
So it works against me that you had to remind me of it. But when the turkey shoots that guy, the guy driving the car, makes him call his daughter. I would go so far as to say, that's the only one, because I remember, I didn't remember him making him call his daughter, which is just great. I remember that he pulls up, propositions the turkey. He's going to let the turkey in, propositions him, and then the turkey just pulls out a shotgun and shoots the guy. I would say that's the only memorable, I remember he chews his way out of Billy. But specifically, I don't remember any of the other kills unless we're like trying to remember them.
Yeah.
But I remember him like flagging down that car, and he just pulls that shotgun out and shoots that guy. and when I remember that, he also made him call his daughter first. And it's this turkey. And the whole time it's this turkey. You gotta call her. I'll take it. John, I think we're done with Thankskilling.
Oh, thank goodness.
Hopefully we won't get any more. There's no way we can.
No.
If Thankskilling 5 ever comes out, I am hunting Jordan Downey down.
Yeah.
Although he's done some other movies since. He did a he has gone on and like some real movies. Hold on, I've got him here. He did a Critters. There's in 2014 there was a Critters bounty hunter that he directed.
Crazy.
He directed an episode of something called Red Weather. He made a short called Techno Western, and in 2018 he made a movie called The Headhunter. I both kind of want to see those and don't.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope next season to do Critters, assuming we get another season of Freak Easy.
Yeah.
I hope to do Critters.
We have not been officially renewed yet.
Right.
So we're still waiting for the studio to call.
Yes.
We're confident though.
So I hope to so maybe we'll get to add Critters Bounty Hunter into that.
Yep. Looks like it's a short, so those.
Oh, is it a short?
Yeah.
Oh, it is a short.
So sometimes those are hard to find.
I didn't even notice that.
But
I was just like, Critters Bounty Hunter.
Yeah. But we'll try really, really.
Well, I guess then
bit.
I guess then we have to watch Headhunter because it's the only one that's not labeled as a short on here. Now that I see that, man. Guys, this has been the Freak Easy. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a rocky season, I feel like.
Hey,
maybe it's
hey, nobody escapes 2020. Not even the Freak Easy.
I was gonna say maybe it's fitting for 2020 that we had to watch Ghoulies, and I didn't really enjoy Killer Clowns too much. But we got the Nightmares. The Nightmares were great.
Yeah.
The Evil Deads are great. What do we start with?
Some of the It stuff's pretty great.
Some of the It stuff is that's the thing about all of it this year. Some of the Psychos are really great.
Yeah.
Some of the It stuff is really great.
Yeah.
A lot of the Nightmare stuff is really great.
Yeah, it's only got that one real scar.
It's only got the one real scar. Two.
Two in the
remake.
Yep.
The Evil Deads are all great, although one of them is barely a horror movie and one of them is just plain not a horror movie. Even though I enjoy that whole franchise, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Am I forgetting any? What's been, John, 8 weeks of the Freak Easy, 8 weeks of horror.
Sorta.
What's, sorta?
Yeah.
6 weeks.
Even with the 2 bonuses?
With the 2 bonuses.
Oh, yeah. That is right. Yep.
6.
All of October and then the...
Yes.
Yep.
What's been your... What's been your favorite experience, or maybe your most surprising? What's your most memorable experience from this season of the Freak Easy?
I'd say probably the Nightmares, because again, if you'd have asked me before we watched them, I'd have told you I had seen them all. Mm-hmm. After rewatching them, I know for sure that I hadn't seen at least a couple of those in there. I had seen a lot of them, but garnering a new appreciation for that franchise, similar to first season when we did the Halloweens, which I knew going in I hadn't seen most of those, and really adore that franchise. And the Nightmares kind of on that same level now, outside of those couple.
Yeah.
But getting to realize how good those were, and basically just getting to take that whole that ride is just like a 7-step through the 80s.
Yes.
And that's fun.
Yep, definitely. I would I want to throw an honorable mention at Alice. Mm-hmm. I've watched the Nightmares more than once a year for 20 years of my life at least, and I don't ever remember particularly noticing what a good character Alice was before this year. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what made the difference or why it's jumped out at me this time. And maybe it's one of those things where I've noticed it before, but it kind of goes in and out because I'm not watching them to discuss it on a podcast.
Yeah.
So who knows? But my actual most memorable moment is how much and how good I thought Psycho 2 was. I know Psycho 1 is great. I love Psycho 1. It's Hitchcock, baby. But I was surprised at how good Psycho 2 was. I was surprised at how much thought was put into it, how well it was shot, and how the story wrapped up. But then they still gave me this chills moment at the end when it comes back, you know, 'cause they spin that whole movie.
Full circle.
Yeah, it comes full circle, and we, you know, ending that scene with Mother in the window and Norman standing outside the house and kind of that music and the lightning. Oh man, I was like, this is infinitely better than I ever expected it to be. This moment is infinitely better than I expected to get from this movie, and this movie was way better than I imagined it possibly could be.
Yeah.
So, guys, what was your favorite Freak Easy moment? Have you been watching along with us? Have you been checking out all the movies? If so, I'm sorry for Ghoulies and Thankskilling 3.
Yeah.
But we want to know what your favorite moment from this season has been. If there's anything that surprised you or caught you off guard or something more memorable than you thought it would be. Also, we're looking for suggestions for next year. Hopefully, we want to have a much better year, a much better season for next year. So what are your suggestions? What do you want to see us go over the next season? Make sure you comment below. While you're down there, like and subscribe if you are watching us on YouTube. If you're not, if you prefer the audio version, you can find us on Stitcher, Podbean, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, which is Google Music or YouTube Music or whatever it is now. You can find us on all those places. Wherever you find your audio version of your podcast, we're there.
Yep.
Make sure you rate us and review us if that's a thing you can do.
Yep. I was about to say, I think they all, wherever you find us that has some sort of little star symbol or like a bunch of them maybe, or like a bell, or just click everything on the page for us, and that's what's going to help ensure that we do get picked up for another season. So if you like the show and you want us to review some more movies, make sure you spread the word.
And guys, if you don't, that's fine too. If you just enjoy listening, we are so glad that you are here listening with us, especially this deep into the boring stuff at the end of the podcast. Like the meat of the podcast is over.
Yeah, the meat of this podcast ended a third of the way in.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, but now we are done with Halloween, guys. We're done with the Freak Easy. It's time for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And Thanksgiving, John, I don't know if you know this, my favorite holiday of the year.
I do know that.
What are you thankful for, John? Anything to be thankful for this year?
Thankful that the year's almost over. I'm thankful for my family and all the sappy stuff, and I guess you or whatever. I'm thankful that I don't have to watch Thankskilling 3 anymore,
and ever again,
or Ghoulies 4. All sorts of things.
I'm thankful for you, John.
Thanks, buddy.
You specifically, and only you. Nothing else matters. I know I give you a hard time and I call you plain old Jonathan, and I always find some way to take a dig at you. I'm thankful that you're still my friend, because I'm not sure I would be. And I think you are a valued member of this podcast, even though I act like you're not.
Well, thanks. And hopefully that part won't get edited out, so I can play it back later.
Guys, I'm thank you for all you guys that join us for this. Thank you ever so much for listening. We will see you soon on the Geek Easy, and we'll see you next year with the Freak Easy. I don't know how to end this. This seems like a bad ending.
No, this is perfect, right?
It's perfect.
Yeah, it's awkward and it runs a little long, and it really screams our show.
Good.
The Geek Easy Podcast is a production of PixelDan.com. Musical tracks used in the intro and outro are used with full permission of the respective owners or creators. Intro and outro narrations are provided by me, Brian T. Stevenson. PixelDan.com's The Geek Easy Podcast is provided for entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are those solely of the hosts or guests and do not necessarily represent those of PixelDan.com or any other party. Be sure to join us next time for another installment of the Geek Easy Podcast.